we don't just want people thinking that they have to post for the sake of posting. We want them really thinking about this strategically.
We're not expecting someone to read a post and then immediately go buy something as the next one. Once in a blue moon, that'll happen. That's not this.
Today, we are talking about content, and not the type of content that goes viral, the type of content that actually generates leads and pipeline.
So content that converts.
Content that converts. Because a lot of people are focused on the wrong metrics when it comes to content. They are thinking about how many likes and comments and impressions. But at the end of the day, we are not just posting content because it's fun and we like it. We are posting content to drive revenue. At least that's what I'm doing.
Me too. I mean, sure, it is fun. And there's other reasons why content's great, which we talk a lot about. Building our brand, right? Personal branding, social selling, storytelling, all of that. But at the end of the day, the reason why Mandy and I do it is because it literally feeds our business.
Correct. I mean, you can make everything fun, but I personally, I don't love social media, and I have a social media company. I do it because it drives business and it gets people to know me and trust me. And that's why I do it. I don't do it to boost my ego and because I think it is so much fun. That would be a lie.
I actually saw a post yesterday where someone was saying how they really dislike social media, right? And so they didn't want to basically be around LinkedIn and engage on LinkedIn and all of that. And they were told to, instead of worry about posting so much, then use the DMs, right? Connect with people via direct message in the right way, which hint, hint, we'll talk about a couple episodes later in this season. But like, just start conversations then in the DMs, and then boom, this guy got, I don't remember how many it was, but like a handful of meetings or something, like right away. And he was like, whoa, and so it's like the term social media doesn't have to mean that you're doing a bunch of posts and engaging
day in the life.
Day in, like, you don't have to do any of that. You can do your social media the way you want to. But at the end of the day, I was like, so basically what I'm hearing is that he was being social.
Yes.
Right? On a social media platform. So, that being said, we get pretty caught up. Yeah, let's get into it, because we get pretty caught up in when we are posting, which most of us are, right? Being on LinkedIn, and we get a little bit distracted by quote unquote how well our post does. But I think what we want to talk about here is, well, let's not worry about vanity metrics. Let's worry about, are we able to make posts that feed our pipeline, feed our business?
Correct. That's also why we built an AI tool, Lumi, inside of our Next Wave membership to help people with this. So they quit guessing and throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks, or just overthinking and not doing anything at all. So we understand that posting is important, which is why we help people do just that in an easy manner with Lumi. But also, we don't just want people thinking that they have to post for the sake of posting. We want them really thinking about this strategically. And the very first step of doing that is really knowing your target audience, or what we refer to often as your ICP. So who exactly are you going after? And you need to know everything you can about them. What are their pain points? What keeps them up at night? How does your solution help them go from point A to point B? And if they don't solve that, what are the repercussions of that?
Yes.
If your LinkedIn strategy right now is just post and hope, we should fix that. We built a free AI tool that creates a personalized LinkedIn growth plan based on your specific business and your audience. It takes less than 5 minutes. Grab it free at yourfuturebiz.com/revenue. That's yourfuturebiz, biz.com/revenue.
And that, we actually dig into that in the very beginning of our season 1 in episode, Who the F Are You Selling To? So definitely go run and listen to that if you want a deeper breakdown into how to really define who that target audience is at ICP. But if you don't do that, none of the rest will matter. So you need to make sure you do that.
Absolutely.
And a very close second is you need to know what your, offer is. Your kind of proven offer, product, service, whichever it is, right? And lucky you, also something we broke down quite a bit to kind of make sure, have you validated that? Are you solving a real problem? So you can go take a look and listen at that episode, which is technically episode 1 of season 1, Idea to Impact. So those are the first 2 things that you absolutely must get a handle on before you can write posts that will convert into anything.
I'm also going to add a number 3 here with your profile. So what you just said, Lindsay, also goes into adding that language to your profile on LinkedIn.
Which was literally the episode before this.
Yes. Which was the first episode in season 2. So go watch that or listen to that.
Yes.
This post format that Lindsay and I are about to share with you all generated 10K in pipeline for us in 1 week and has since then done more than that. But that is this formula, and it doesn't get a lot of engagement. We don't even put a picture with it. There's no video. There's no photo. It's just plain text. And it's not those that take off. So it's not like Lindsay's random ass posts that go viral about nothing.
About Starbucks, or the one 2 days ago, Poopy Pipelines is going to get to 10K impressions, which isn't anything viral, but just like it had 10 words in it talking about Poopy Pipelines. So it's not one of those.
Yeah, it's not one that performs really, really well. Maybe I should say that instead of saying viral, but it's not going to take off, if you will, and get loads of engagement and comments, but it does drive pipeline. And we are in the business of helping people not only generate a successful, powerful personal brand, but taking that personal brand to generate revenue. So the first thing you guys need to think about is this 80-20 formula. And that's this niche problem formula here that we're talking about. And so 80% is you framing the problem, the symptoms, and the emotion. Meaning the whole time you're painting a picture. And as you're painting that picture, your prospect is reading it and thinking, damn, that's me. Oh, yep, that's me. So they're reading it and they're like, this is my situation.
Yep.
So the very beginning of that. Exactly. Like, oh, this person must know me. Like they get it. So the 20% is your solution. Meaning instead of doing things the old way, think about doing things this new way. And it just happens to be your solution. But your solution could be, they could do it themselves. They could hire someone else. So you're not like, I have the one and only way. You do that later in this post.
You do that.
You do that, which is Lindsay's favorite phrase. You do that. But the whole point is like we're painting the picture, we're driving home the emotions, driving home the pain, and then we're like, by the way, there's a better way to do this. If you want to see how that works and how we do it, click here. And then you can send people to a landing page. You can change up your call to action. You can tell them to send you a message. You can send them to a specific landing page, which is what we do, where they fill out a form and then schedule a call with us. There's a lot of ways you can do this, but that's the whole point, is that we are really driving home on all of these things. And then I'll break it down further here in a second on like the hook, the symptoms, naming the problem, et cetera, et cetera. But that's basically the outline.
And you do have a CTA, right?
Yes.
So like
always. Well,
yeah, because otherwise, what are they how are they going to convert, right?
Tell people what you want them to do. Period. Don't just ask a question. What have you found? Is this something that you've faced? Tell me more.
Do you agree? Thoughts?
Do you agree? Don't do that. Literally tell people what to do. Click here and, what was mine? I need to pull mine up and look.
Well,
it was literally like...
I just did one 2 days ago. This one breaks the rules a little bit because obviously I had the video because I do that. But the actual post itself was written also in a way of explaining, this might be you and this is what we're seeing. This is the problem. Here's solution. And then if you want to learn about it, go here. And it was to go to our next free masterclass, right? Where we're going to break this down. So
perfect.
Very specific call to action here. I'm not asking you to go be a Next Wave member. I'm not asking you to buy anything. I want you to just go to this class.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking at mine, like my post right now. So by the way, we give away the prompts for this too inside of our Next Wave membership. And I have the exact post of mine that I use that generated revenue. Oh, okay. Here's what mine says. Here's how to make the switch. So it's like, I'm not even, I'm not even like, do you want to blah, blah, schedule a call? I'm like, here's how to make the switch. Because before that it said, spray and pray makes your team invisible. Modern social selling makes them magnetic. Here's how to make the switch. And then my other one is just a link. And the end says, outbound doesn't need to be replaced. It needs to be supported by a system that adapts to modern times. And then there's like it directs them to that. And then the third one. So I'm not even saying like schedule a call with me here. It's literally like, this is how it's done. See how it works here. Right? And then they click it and then we break it down even more. So that landing page has a lot of details into what the system is, again, painting the problem, and then tons of testimonials, and then kind of describing our actual framework. So there's no questions on what we're selling.
I think it's important that we note in the way that you write these posts, you're not, and while they absolutely, correct me if I'm wrong, are pretty long form. Right? These aren't
these are long form posts.
These are long form posts as long as, LinkedIn allows. But what you're not long forming is the details of the solution, right? Because
long forming, I love that. Yes, it's true.
Yeah. It's a word now. And I love turning words into actions that don't exist. But you're not breaking down the solution in this long form. You're breaking down, right, the story problem. And the pain and the problem. So the call to action itself that is very effective that Mandy's talking about should lead to likely something that then gives the detail more. Because again, if we bring this back to the thought of kind of like a funnel of some sort, you want each step of the journey that this person has now just joined you on to convert to the next step, right? Like, so instead of just being like, we're not expecting someone to read a post and then immediately go buy something as the next one. Once in a blue moon, that'll happen. That's not this. This is, I would like to grab your attention, ICP. I know you and you have this problem. They go, yes, oh my God, I do, And then I'm like, here, let me just help you a little bit more with that. And they go, okay, let me take a look at that. And then once they do that conversion, now you can break into detail more about that, like we do on our beautiful funnel landing pages that Mandy makes.
That Mandy makes. Thanks for that.
Not me.
And like another way to think about it is like, here's a better way to do it. Like that could be your call to action. Like, here's a smarter way to do it. Here's a more, like there's so many different CTAs you can get creative with. You can use AI to help you with that. But remember too, that if we're breaking this down a little more, and we'll wrap up here shortly, the hook is super important. So that hook needs to be a pattern interrupt. So for example, cold outbound isn't dead, but it's definitely on life support. Most sales teams think they're scaling. They're actually just scaling noise. Like stuff like that. Your content isn't bad, but your messaging is, So something that like stops people to want them to want to read it more. And then you go into the symptoms. So you paint that picture so they feel it and they basically raise their hand invisibly. And then just imagine that they're raising their invisible hand.
Raising their invisible hand.
And then if you want, you can even name the problem. So like we call it the invisible sales team. So another one is like the algorithm trap, the spray and pray effect. I mean, you could go on and on. Again, you could use AI to help you like come up with a name, but essentially you're just slapping a name on the problem.
You're productizing
and then you go into the solution. And then proof. Social proof is huge. So within this post, if you can weave in after you introduce the better solution, the modern solution, then you talk about, and XYZ company that implemented this was able to land 3 new clients within 2 weeks. So have some social proof in there. The teams that are implementing our modern social seller system are hitting 120% of quota consistently. So throw that in there, and then you can have, your final last few sentences with a call to action. So that's kind of the breakdown, the quick breakdown. I actually have like I said, a much more detailed breakdown inside of the Next Wave, if you guys want to check that out.
Yep. That being said, let's just quickly talk a little bit about how often people should be doing these sorts of posts. Because if this was the only sort of post that you put out there, might not also be as effective too.
Correct. Yeah.
So something that we teach a lot in the next wave is a bit of a schedule to create and follow until this becomes second nature for you. For a lot of people, it never will, right? Like we don't want to make being on LinkedIn our full-time job. So if you have a schedule of your posts, think a little bit more about the ratio. If you are constantly posting, if you're posting at least, I don't know what, like 3 to 4 times a week or more, then count once a week, right? One of these types of converting focus posts. But if you're more in the like 1 to 2 posts a week or less, then maybe like 1 every 2 weeks, right? So like either somewhere between 2 to 4 times a month, consider one of these types of posts. And then in between, we're going to talk more about storytelling or maybe one of your silly ones where you're in all caps yelling about poopy pipelines like I just did, right? Or whatever it is that is connecting with a human, gaining some following, maybe just giving some advice, right? For free. Like all those other great things you still need to have, right? But have these woven in, try to do them consistently, right? So don't also, if I say 2 to 4 times a month, don't do all of them in 1 week.
Right. And it helps to batch them, like make them all at the same time.
Yeah.
And then you can have a content calendar where you can just post them, like we said, 2 to 4 times. But what we do is we write them all in one setting. So they're different. And we're looking at all of them at the same time. And we know which ones need to be slightly different, which one doesn't touch on this point, but the other one does. And because that way you're not going back and looking like, when did I post this? What did I say? Like have them all in a document and do them all at the same time.
Yep. So your tactical takeaway is go, if you haven't been posting in this kind of format, right, then go make yourself a quick little calendar for the following month. Okay. And pick, like I said, based off of your frequency of posting, pick between 2 to 4 times in the following 30 days, you're going to follow a format like this, and then choose your days that you're going to do the other sorts of type of posts and do them all, like write them all at one time, like Manny just said, so that you can strategically place them in the next month in the way that needs to be done instead of trying to think of it the morning of, the day before, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. All right.
Okay.
That's it, folks. Go do it. Get after it.
Bye-bye.
Adios. Okay, now go build something cool. And if you can't figure out what's holding back your revenue, grab our free Hidden Revenue Finder GPT at yourfuturebiz.com/revenue.
If you like what you hear, or at least didn't hate it, hit that follow or subscribe button so you don't miss an episode.
And just like that, another business problem got a little clearer. Because in the business world, it's not about who raises first.
It's about who lasts.